Hey everyone, it's Fun Around, and my name is Jordan, and we are to Friday's slate of games, another big 10-game slate. There are thousands of props to choose from. So you will see images that come up on the screen about right there. That's from a data app called Outlier. There are links in the description to give you a 7-day free trial for Outlier. So I'm going to jump right into this because I know people like to get straight to the picks. So his first pick, I got to go with my guy who I'd mentioned in the last video. I'm a Cleveland fan. All I heard all offseason with the new coach, Kenny Atkinson, is they want to unleash Evan Mobley. That might not be the exact wording, but fulfill his potential. He has a ton of unfulfilled potential, and it started to show. They played through the bigs, which Cleveland needs to do with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So I like Evan Mobley over 15.5 points at -120. He dropped 25 points in that opener. It was a huge blowout. He only played 27 minutes, and he scored 19 of his 25 points in the first half. They give it to him early and often, and once he gets going and you get Jared Allen going, then that causes the defense to crash, and then you get all your three-point shooters going. Donovan Mitchell shots are easier. Same with Darius Garland. All those guys, so much easier when you have a guy like Evan Mobley who can set things up like that. So they will be at home for their home opener. They will be playing against Detroit, who was not great against power forwards last year. They give up these 6 most points to power forwards last year. They have Tobias Harris now playing at the power forward position, and that's a mismatch in Evan Mobley's favor, just size-wise. So Jalen Durant and Jared Allen can, battle it out, and Evan Mobley will be going up against Tobias Harris. So, but overall, Cleveland looked great. Evan Mobley looked great, so I do like for him to have a good home opener here against a bad team. So his next pick will be Alperen Sengun of the Rockets over 18.5 points, -130. He dropped 25 points in the opener versus Charlotte. Charlotte has historically been one of the worst teams versus centers. He had a double-double in the first quarter. He hasn't done too great historically against Memphis, but that was with Jaren Jackson Jr. there. I'm reading Jaren Jackson Jr. is doubtful for this game, so I'm going with the doubtful tag. Doubtful usually means, especially in football, usually means they're not going to play. So the Grizzlies started Zach Edey. He got in foul trouble really quickly. That's what you would imagine, a guy who's not that quick, and when you have skillful players, like he's not going up against accountants like he was in college. You have skillful players like Sengun, who's a skilled center. He's going to get to the free throw line a lot against a guy like Zach Edey. He's just Sengun's just one of the best up and coming bigs in the league overall. But Memphis, they gave up the 6 most points to centers last season. And Sengun, with this line, it's actually pretty low for his last season's lines where they ended up at. But he went over in 77% of games that he played 30-plus minutes, and he played 34 minutes in the first game. So pretty high hit rate for this one. And there's an outlier stat. They like to give some insights. They're saying that he went over in 16 out of his last 19 games at home with a 25-point average. So good matchup here, especially if Jaren Jackson Jr. sticks to that doubtful tag and doesn't play. Even if he does play, he probably will be on somewhat of a minutes restriction. A lot of the Grizzlies were on a minutes restriction in that first game. They were just playing around with the lineup, but I can't imagine he'd be on the court for 30-plus minutes anyway. So that's Sengun over 18.5 points. So I have a lot of points props for this one after, kind of seeing the defenses and seeing where new lines come out at. But if you could, please like the video. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have a little bit of extra time, could you leave a comment for the algorithm? Could you just put the number 4? And that just helps get this video out there for more people to see. And if you'd like to get away from something like Prizepicks, check out Underdog, Fantasy, Sleeper, ParlayPlay, or ChalkBoard. Use promo code FINAROUND11 on any of these. A lot of these have alt lines, dynamic payouts, and you're not stuck to just one certain payout like Prizepicks likes to do. I know they added the goblins and demons and all that, but that was because apps like ChalkBoard and Sleeper brought the alt lines. There are links in the description. I'll take you straight there with the promo code. And Underdog still has the 20% boost for all NBA slips until October 27. So check that out if you have not. This third pick on the other side of things with Jaren Jackson Jr., doubtful. The guy who stepped up and had a monster game. His line is actually pretty low. Is Santi Aldama. I like him over 8.5 points at -133. He went over in 67% of games in the last 2 seasons where Jaren Jackson Jr. did not play. I just want to call him Triple J. Aldama was actually an Olympic standout for the Spain team. I did picks for the Olympics and learned all about those teams. Aldama was huge, and I learned that he has very good range from the 3-point line. If Jaren Jackson Jr. does make a surprise return, like I said, I don't think he's going to be playing full games minutes, getting back into things. Aldama went over in 56% of games with Jaren Jackson Jr. last year. But in that first game, he took 10 3-pointers. He shot 50% from the 3-point line. And then overall, he shot 62% from the field. This guy likes to score. And I like him over 8.5 points, -133. This next one is not going to be a points prop. So with the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton was the leading assister in the league last year. I don't know if that's a word, an assister. But things looked different when they played in the first game. A lot of guys like Pascal Siakam and Andrew Nembhard were getting assists. It was like a team effort type of deal. It wasn't just going all through Tyrese Halliburton. So a guy who did step up in the playoffs and later in last year was Andrew Nembhard, and I like him over 6.5 rebounds plus assist. He had 7 assists and 2 rebounds in that first game against Detroit. They're going up against the Knicks, who they played in the playoffs. There's going to be some unfamiliar faces because of the trades, but his role last season did increase a lot. He played 35 minutes in that first game, which is huge. And on the screen, I sorted with outlier to all the games he played with 30 plus minutes. And you'll see there was a big stretch there where he went over this 30 plus minutes with Tyrese Halliburton. I know he had some big games when Halliburton was out. But this is with Tyrese Halliburton on the floor. He went over in 13 straight, and that includes this season. So 12 last season, and then to start off this year with a 76% hit rate. Last season, he did play against the Knicks 5 different times with Tyrese Halliburton and went over 4 out of 5 times. So I do like this line for Andrew Nembhard, -125 over 6.5 rebounds plus assist. And then this final one, something I noticed with one of my other picks. I picked Clint Capela over rebounds. Their rotation last year, he would, play half a quarter. Onyeka Okongwu would come in and play the second half of the quarter, and they would kind of rotate a little bit, and then Clint Capela would kind of close things out. And it looked a little bit different. So Clint Capela started off strong. They were doing their thing, but as they kept playing Okongwu, he kept scoring over and over and over. And when they got to the fourth quarter and it was time for Capela to come back in, he came in for a minute. The coach was like, no, I got to put Onyeka Okongwu back out there. He dropped 28 points versus Brooklyn, and Clint Capela was benched. So as a coach, you can't look at that and just say, okay, I'm going to go back to the same old rotation. But I like Onyeka Okongwu over 11.5 points at -119, mainly because of that. That's the main reason. But the other main reason, I've been doing this. This is my third season doing NBA. I did like a half a season when I first started out. I did a full season last year, and then I'm doing this season. The Charlotte Hornets have always been bad against the center position when it comes to points, when it comes to rebounds, all that stuff. So they're going up against the Hornets, and you have a guy who just scored 28 points, shooting 11 for 12 with 92% field goal percentage. And Charlotte hasn't added to their center depth. They haven't gotten any better in that area. I like him to score, continue his scoring ways. Clint Capela, his lines, I looked to see if they had dropped a little bit, and they hadn't really dropped much for us to kind of get like a discount on him. So I'm going to go with the guy who is hot right now. He didn't do this much last year, but he's clearly talented, and I believe he was the guy who played with the Ball brothers in high school when they were like amazing, like winning games by like 100 and stuff like that. I think Onyeka Okongwu was the other guy that made it to the NBA with them. So great matchup for him, and we'll see what the coach does. If he continues to play that way, he could be pushing for the starting position for the Hawks. So once again, I have a Discord. Link is in the description. Conversations going on about all sports there. You just hop on in. It's free. And then for a recap, I'm filming at halftime during the Mavericks game. I did see Champagne went over threes, but for the previous day, I did have Tyrese Halliburton over assist. He did not get it done. It looks like they're playing a little bit differently, as I had mentioned, than they used to. Then Clint Capela over 9.5 rebounds, and he ended up with 7. He got benched in the fourth quarter. So missed those 2, but then the rest of them did well. John Morant over 7.5 assists. He ended up with 10. Scoot Henderson over 6.5 rebounds plus assist. I went to sleep and he had 6 in the first half. He went over that. I think finished with 8. Then Andre Drummond over 3.5 first quarter rebounds, and I think he had 7 in the first quarter. So 3 correct, 2 wrong. I know a lot of people say, that's a winning day and all that, but I know a lot of people parlay these things, and you just get 1 wrong, and that's not a winning day. So, I would like to do better than 3 and 2. So hopefully we have a better day here. So I'm going to get this edited and get it out to you. God bless you all. It's Final Round. My name is Jordan. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.